When I first moved into Lakeside Meadows, I thought I'd finally found the peaceful suburb I'd always dreamed of. Neatly trimmed hedges, wide sidewalks, polite neighbors who waved but never talked too long, the kind of place where nothing dramatic ever happened. Or so I thought. My name's Eric Dalton, and I didn't move here for luxury. I moved here to rebuild my life. I just lost my small business during the recession, sold my old place, and bought this house to start fresh. I picked up a few side gigs, fixing cars and detailing vehicles from my garage, nothing crazy, just helping neighbors and earning enough to get by. At first everything went smoothly. My neighbors loved it. Mrs. Turner, who lived next door, brought her dusty old minivan over every 2 weeks. Mr. Brooks asked if I could polish up his vintage Mustang. I wasn't running a full-blown business, just helping people who asked. My driveway became a small gathering spot every Saturday morning. Neighbors chatted, kids played, and there was laughter. But apparently, laughter wasn't something the HOA appreciated. One Monday morning, I stepped outside with a mug of coffee and saw a bright orange paper taped to my mailbox. Those 6 words that every homeowner dreads glared back at me. Notice of violation, unauthorized use of driveway. I blinked, confused. Unauthorized use? It's a driveway, I muttered to myself. Then I read the fine print. Homeowners may not engage in commercial activities or park multiple vehicles on private driveways in a manner that disrupts the aesthetic uniformity of the neighborhood. Aesthetic uniformity, my least favorite phrase. I decided to call the HOA office. A woman named Meredith answered, her voice calm, professional, and cold enough to chill coffee. I tried to explain. "Ma'am, I'm not running a business. I just wash cars for friends." She replied, "Mr. Dalton, we've received multiple complaints about cars parked in your driveway every weekend. If you don't stop immediately, you'll be fined $500 per incident." "Complaints?" I asked. "From who?" She paused. "Anonymous reports." Of course, anonymous, meaning my nosy neighbor, Greg, across the street. He always had something to say about everyone. I hung up, frustrated, staring at my quiet driveway. Max, my old black lab, sat beside me wagging his tail. I ruffled his fur and said, "Well, buddy, looks like we're criminals now." At first I thought maybe I should just stop, keep my head down, avoid trouble, but the more I thought about it, the angrier I got. I wasn't hurting anyone, I was helping people. And since when did washing a car become a crime? Then a crazy idea started forming. If the HOA wanted to call it a business, fine, I'd turn it into something better. That Friday night, I went online and made a post on the community Facebook page. "Free car wash this Saturday, all donations go to the local animal shelter. Everyone welcome." Within hours, people started liking and sharing it. Even neighbors I'd never spoken to commented, "Count us in." Saturday morning came bright and sunny. I set up buckets, soap, and a big sign that said, "Charity Wash for Paws." I half expected the HOA to show up with clipboards, but I didn't care anymore. By noon, my driveway was packed. Cars lined down the street, kids waving posters, and laughter echoing through the cul-de-sac. Mrs. Turner brought lemonade. Teenagers helped rinse cars. Even Greg, my grumpy neighbor, peeked from his window, watching the crowd grow. We raised over $800 that first day. I drove straight to the animal shelter and handed it over. The volunteers were stunned. "You raised this washing cars?" one of them asked. I smiled. "Yeah, guess we found a way to clean more than just vehicles." Of course, Monday morning came with another HOA letter. "Cease and desist community gatherings," it said. "You are in violation of community regulations regarding commercial and charitable events without board approval." I laughed out loud. They were mad because I'd done something good. That's when I decided I wasn't backing down. So the next weekend, I did it again. But this time, I filed for a city charity permit. It took a few hours and a small fee, but once it was approved, the HOA couldn't touch me. My driveway became a legally recognized charity site. When I posted the permit online, neighbors started cheering me on. "That's awesome, Eric. Stick it to the HOA. We'll be there next Saturday." And they came, dozens of them. Each week, More people joined, bringing food, supplies, even music. Kids painted paw prints on cardboard signs. The local newspaper showed up one weekend, snapping photos of Max sitting proudly beside me as I rinsed off another car. The next day, a story ran in the paper titled, "Local Man Turns HOA Feud into Charity Movement." The best part, the HOA couldn't stop it. Every rule they threw at me, I found a way around. One Saturday, as I was finishing up a shiny blue SUV, a familiar figure approached Meredith, clipboard in hand, looking less confident than usual. "Mr. Dalton," she began, "we appreciate your charitable intentions, but this has become excessive." I wiped my hands on a towel. "Excessive kindness?" I asked with a grin. She sighed, "You're attracting attention. It's disruptive." Behind her, a group of kids laughed and splashed water on each other. Music played softly from a speaker. Neighbors smiled and waved. "Looks like a happy neighborhood to me," I said. She looked around, clearly realizing how ridiculous she sounded. "We'll revisit the community guidelines," she muttered, turning to leave. The next month, the HOA quietly updated its bylaws to allow approved community events with prior notice. And guess who they asked to lead the new Community Engagement Committee? Yep, me. We made it official. Once a month, my driveway hosted the Lakeside Charity Wash, raising funds for local shelters, food banks, and schools. What started as one angry act of defiance turned into a neighborhood tradition. Even Greg, the guy who probably reported me in the first place, showed up eventually. He handed me a sponge and said, "Guess I was wrong about you, Eric." I grinned and tossed him a towel. Happens to the best of us. Now every first Saturday of the month, you can find me out front, hose in hand, Max wagging beside me, surrounded by laughter, music, and soapy water. The same HOA that once fined me now sends out emails reminding everyone of the event. It's funny, they said my driveway was too crowded. Now it's the heart of the whole neighborhood.